Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of the Russo N Goodwin Show. Trey, I just want to give you the floor for like a minute and just want to see you smile, you know? When have we won? When have we won a game week 1? It's so nice. There's nothing else I can say other than, how happy we are right now. But here we are, episode 6. I'm Russo with your co-host, Coach Trey. How are we doing today, man?
Good, baby. Good. We're dude, I actually thought about this. Sometime like within the last, I don't know, like 24 hours, dude. The last time think about this for a second. Just the last time that LSU won the first game of the season. Not only was it the national championship year, but I just want to put into perspective what was going on at that time. Okay. We didn't even know what COVID was. Okay. Used car prices were like regular and great even.
All pricing.
Anything was fine. And we were like maybe a month into realizing that Derek Stingley Jr. was going to be all of that at 18 years old. And I specifically remember, and I'm going to go quick here just because I know that you probably have some points to this too, but I specifically remember we were playing like Call of Duty or like on a weeknight doing our thing, like it's after dinner, before bed, whatever the case. And I remember saying before the season started, before like that game, like before Georgia, Southern, I said, bro, they got this kid from Dunham, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at what he looks like in game 1. And I remember you saying, well, we have Christian Fulton. And I'm like, I understand that, and we're actually going to get to this point later on. We have Christian Fulton, and I said, I understand, but he's going to get thrown out a lot, and we're going to know who this kid is. And that was the one most exciting thing that we were looking for all camp in that 2019 season, because we didn't know what was coming. Was we're going to start a true freshman at corner, and that's either going to be really great or really bad. And the only other thing, and I hate to bring this up, but the only other thing that I can think of was I was leaving an internship. And it's 4:00 in the afternoon. And I said, hey man, is there any way you could just like maybe put $100 on Joe Burrow for the Heisman just to see what might happen at the end of the year? And I said, cause it's honestly like, you're not going to miss the $100. Like, I know that's, probably not fair to say for some folks, obviously, but $100 is a lot. And I never bet $100 on much, but so just put $100 and you talked me out of it for Jalen Hurts. And I said, okay, like, all right.
Hey, Super Bowl champ,
but will you? And you were like, listen, we'll see. And we never circled back to it until like game 9. And I'm like, hey man, so how about that $100? And I've never let you live it down.
No. Bad times. That's bad times. But let's focus on the good times, dude. We have not talked about this game, so this is going to be a very raw conversation between us. Pause. I think let's just get into it, dude. Let's just get into it. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on how the game played out. Did you think that's what it was going to be? Were you nervous after the first half? How impressed you were with the play in the second half? How, excuse my language, screwy the touchdown callback was against Barry and Brown. All of it, dude. Let's just get into it.
I'll actually start by bringing up this comment here from my boy Money Tyler. Tyler says Todd would never. That's an inside joke. Tyler. So Todd is actually a recent boss of mine and a very, very good friend of mine at this point. Certainly someone that I owe a lot of gratitude to. And he actually, Tyler and him actually met accidentally, like at a conference for work. And they're now like they've played golf together and they've had lunch. Like they're two best friends. So I'll say this, that wasn't the internship money. It was actually a different internship, but thank you for that. Thank you for bringing up old wounds. But yes, you're right. Todd would never. First of all, Todd would never let me bet $100 on anything. He would tell me that I was an idiot and he'd tell me to spend my money on something else. But anyway, so going back, how did I feel leaving the first half? Is that the question?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I felt leaving the first half, to be completely candid with you, like, I'm gonna really try to make this believable to the masses. It felt like it was going to happen again.
I said, here we go. With a better defense, but I was like, here we go.
It literally, in that moment, and the only reason why I say that, because if you kick the field goal, I would not have felt that way, because it would have told me that BK trusted his defense more than the analytics. And what we saw for 2 quarters was that this defense was raw. However, there was a few things that we didn't know. It was, how long are they going to stay this good? How many times are we going to shoot ourselves in the foot throughout the game? Because it honestly felt like, yet again, and but it's not just BK in week 1. It's a lot of teams in week 1. There's a lot of, screwy things that happen, these fumbles and the interceptions, whatever the case may be, the clock mismanagement, whatever. But the way that it ended with a screen pass, the way that it ended with a fumble, it felt like we had already blown the process of giving Clemson too much rope. Like, we had already given them all the opportunities to stay in the game, and there's only going to be so many left. I will tell you what I really did feel like. I felt like it was going to happen again. However, I turned to everyone, because in the living room that we were in at the beach was nothing but, my family. And I turned to them and I said, guys, if we can come through and get a stop in the first like in the first drive, if we can get a stop, I think we're going to see some weird crap. And that is what you saw.
Yeah.
And again, to that point, I still don't hate them going for it, but the play call was boneheaded. I agree. And I'll actually give you the floor on this. This was my thought on the play call. I don't hate that you went for it. Okay. I would have preferred that you kicked the field goal. Clearly, no matter what hindsight says, everyone says that they wanted the field goal. No one wanted you to go for it. I'm okay with you going for it. What I'm not okay with is that being what you did to go for it. That is not what Chris Hilton's game is. We talked about that last night and catching up with Coach. You had options, and the observation that you made was that if you were going to run that screen and it wasn't going to go into the end zone, and they even posted this, so it confirmed my suspicion from last night. And I said that they obviously had the very next play already called coming out of the timeout, because they literally had BK mic'd up in that moment, and he was literally talking about it. So I think that you already had your next play called. So you were going for 2 house calls or 2 shots at that point in time. So there was no clock it. There was none of that. So I did hate it, that because that's what you ultimately did. But if you are going to go for it, why not give me a Trey Green into the end zone? You were trying to do it all game. You were trying to get the ball to the big guy. So that's how
I'll play devil's advocate and say, in the moment, I agree. I think the play call was boneheaded. But if you look at it in hindsight, I thought Sloan called a great game. So, like, I think the play almost worked. Like the play almost worked. I think obviously it wasn't executed correctly, but like, if you get the right personnel on that, maybe it's better. Maybe they thought because it was Hilton, they weren't expecting that. Like, I don't know what the thought process was. I will play devil's advocate, and I will say that I'm not mad in hindsight, just because I just thought he called an excellent game, especially in the second half. Like the play calling was sick. So that's devil's advocate. And man, we do have a bunch of Tylers in here, do we not? I mean, let's just shout them out. What's up, T-Lesh? What's up, the Tyler Pat and Tyler Fox? I mean, look, I think after going into the first half, I was like, damn, this is gonna happen again. But then you just keep seeing that defense, man. It could bring a tear to my eye. The Weeks brothers, Harold Perkins being like the execution of him basically being a spy for the second half on Klubnik, and wherever he went, he was on him, and you can see that all the way up into the last play. Just the defense was everywhere, man, and I'm just praying that Clemson is good. That's the only concern I have, is that maybe this was a fallacy. Like maybe Clemson sucks. I don't think that's the case. I'd be interested to see how the odds shift now that Florida State's back into this conversation. Was that also a blunder by Bama? Like, is Florida State that good, or is Bama that bad? However, I just pray that Clemson's good. I hope this win ages well, because no one really cares 8 weeks or 10 weeks from now. They're just gonna be like, oh wow, well Clemson's 5-3, going into week 10. Like, that win sucks. So like, as great as this win is now, you can't be complacent, and you have to hope that Clemson turns out to be everything that we hope they become. And they're already making excuses. There's been some boxing in the media between Dabo and Brian Kelly. But yeah, man, I will say Hilton sold 3 gorgeous parlays. I mean, he just ended up with negative yards, but he was the only one to sell. The Trey'Dez Green touchdown at plus 290. Did Klubnik hit his rush yards? I don't know if that was in the stat line or not. That probably, but there was 3 that were destined with Aaron Anderson. That was upsetting, obviously, but we take the win. Dabo sucks. He does, dude. Like that quote. What was it? LSU made a 64 and Clemson made a 59, or whatever the bullshit quote was. I mean, like, it's sickening.
It's weak. So
it's weak.
To address your things in order, just because of how you set them. We talked about that on the show last night, and because I brought that up, and I think that is the devil's advocate, viewpoint, in that, is Clemson good? Do not make a mistake of fooling yourself into thinking that Clemson is anything less than what they are. They are absolutely today the best team in the ACC. However, does that mean that Florida State maybe being a little bit better, probably a lot better than we thought? That has absolutely no bearing on it. You want to know why? Because they are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th choice to take the ACC at 12-1, and Clemson is still 1.5-1, and then Miami is basically 3-1. They're at plus 290. So you've got Louisville moving up in the odds more than you've got Florida State. So Georgia Tech is still 11-1. Like, there is absolutely nothing that Clemson did that would suggest they were bad. You were given problems all spring and summer long from this defense, and we were all made to believe that this offensive line was going to struggle, and they still may. They still have Florida, and I hate to tell you, the one thing I did find out is that I do think that Florida's defensive tackles are as good, if not better, than Clemson's. From what I saw today, and you still have South Carolina. You still have that defensive front. That's all happening in the next handful of weeks here. So just to handle that in that order, I do think Clemson is everything that we thought. Just because LSU went in there and beat him, I think it says a lot more about LSU than it does about Clemson. That you did not learn more about Clemson than you did about LSU in that game. It is absolutely the other way around. What I will say as it relates to the media thing, first of all, did you hear the question? They didn't, like, all he had to do was Dabo answer how they did. Like he didn't have to say, "Oh, LSU's a good football team. LSU's a good football team," and he didn't have to then go back and then step over his nice comment about what he said. That's why I feel like he's so fake. Like he just comes off as fake. I don't know the man. I'm not a Clemson fan. I could be wrong, but it's the holier than thou, little old me and little old Clemson and the Christian. Bruh, do you know how weak and insecure and belittling of a person that you look like now, having made that comment? Because BK comes back, and I agree, BK's response was funny as hell. Like he literally just clapped back, and for the first time that and for whatever reason BK gets like this hard viewpoint because of like how he was at Notre Dame, and it's this rough, stiff, like unapologetically myself, no one can like me kind of personality. Like it's odd because literally all we see when we watch these press conferences is the dad jokes. The media goes live 15 seconds before the program starts, and he's making jokes with everybody. He's got the little dad jokes. He wears the Jordans. He points out people's socks. He's literally like he doesn't take himself too seriously. So for him to then clap back and go, "We went in there and whipped your ass." Like I like that.
Yeah,
like
did you watch the second half?
Right. Like did you participate?
It was a beatdown. And
good.
I think a lot of it is because of that. I mean, there was a lot of missed opportunities, right? I mean, I think the touchdown callback was crazy. I do not understand how that happened. I think I texted you like, "Hell yeah!" Like I was like hyped, and then because I was behind, like I had a delay, and then you're like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh my god, they turned this." So like that sucked. At the end of the day, we've got to move on because LA Tech comes into town. First game at Tiger Stadium, the real Tiger Stadium, the real Death Valley. Can't wait for that. Let's get into a game that I watched as well. The highly anticipated debut of the season of Arch Manning.
Hey now.
Man, it was a tough watch. Shout out to the Sneeze for hosting me. Obviously they're huge Texas fans, so it's tough because it's like I was pulling for Texas. I was like, I picked Texas to win the game. And you see the first quarter and you're like, probably nerves. Like this is it's understandable.
Probably.
It happens. Second quarter, it lingers on. I'm like, okay, like hopefully we turn this around. Third quarter, yeah, okay. Like now we've seen enough. And like the commentary in the third quarter, they're like, yeah, he needs to let the ball loose. Like, and immediately, like 5 seconds after he throws a pick, like a really bad ball. He did have a good fourth quarter. I think most of his yards came in the fourth quarter, but man, what were your thoughts on this game? Is this a test? Like, one, is Texas going to be okay? Two, is Arch going to get over this? He does have a couple of games coming up where he can get into a rhythm. And three, what does it say about Ohio State? Like, are you impressed? Like, was this an impressive victory given the circumstances? What were all your thoughts on that?
So I think Texas will be fine. I have every reason to believe that Texas will be fine. That defense is for real. So you had on the other end of it, you had Julian saying was 13 of 20 on 65% completion percentage for 126 yards and a touchdown. I am not. I mean, and Arch was 17 of 30 for 170 and a touchdown and a pick. I think that had everything to say about these two defenses being great. I said whenever we were on the show together last week, I was kind of shocked that you had changed your pick to Texas because it felt like, just the things that we go, that we go through: coach, quarterback, Vegas, and location. Like, what are all those four things going to say? And it leaned Ohio State for me. Now, granted, I, would not have been shocked if Texas would have won, but it felt like, this was a field goal or a touchdown game. I did not expect it to look like that. I think that's more the yips because you see the touchdown pass from Arch, and then you see him skipping, crossing routes. I think that's very much the yips. I have seen enough of this kid in college football settings and backup work and dirty work to say that I don't think that he's going to skip a crossing route every game. I think Texas will be fine. However, it does give me a little bit more confidence in me liking that, Georgia was going to beat them. So the way that Texas looked, again, I feel like you learned kind of about equal. Is that a cop-out? Like, I learned that Ohio State could.
I don't know.
You,
I think both defenses are incredible.
I
think,
agree. I agree.
I think that, but like, I was not impressed with Ohio State's offense. I think they relied way too, that dude managed the game perfectly. Saying had a 40-yard bomb that was pretty much open after hammering the ball, but they just ran the ball down their throats, and it wasn't like it was a domination. It was just like CJ Donaldson's a big back. He was getting 4 to 5 yards. It was a perfectly called game. Now, I don't know if that works against Penn State. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that works.
You think Penn State's
against
defense is better than Texas's?
Dude. Is that game in Ohio State or Penn State? Or do they play?
Say it one more time now.
Does Ohio State play Penn State this year on the regular season?
Well, they absolutely do.
Where's that game at?
At the crib. It's at the crib on November 1st.
I mean,
it's at Ohio State, dude. But they do go to Michigan at the end of the year, so you kind of got that flip-flop from last year.
Michigan's to be determined, right? I mean, I don't know how I feel about. I mean, I think Bryce looked great, especially for his first game, right? I mean, I think the story about this game was we saw Arch play, so like the fact that we're having yips is concerning, right? Like he came in for 4, like what was that, 3 or 4 games last year? Like why are we having yips? Maybe, obviously, I get it. Tough situation.
First start on the road.
All the hype. First start on the road against the defending national champions. I get all that. I mean, I still give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he has a very good schedule set up for him to be better. But it would not shock me in the least if this regression continues. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll see. Like, it's tough. And this leads me into my segue of how important and how key was it this week? I think you saw it around the SEC mainly. How key was it having an experienced quarterback? Like, it's nuts to me. Like, you've got Moneyline Mateer had a very good game. Lenoris Sellers, although they did struggle a little bit, they did pull away, but they did struggle. However, offense looked great. Like, I wouldn't call him Cam Newton, probably like a mini Cam Newton for sure, right? I mean, some of his runs were sick. He's going to be tough to contain. What about Gunnar Stockton? You know what I'm saying? Like, what a game by him, and let's go Jackson Arnold. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of experienced quarterback play that bailed teams out. And you see teams like, Texas. You see teams that, like I said, testament to Bryce. He didn't play a great team, but he had a good game. But there were some situations around the country where you had inexperienced quarterback play, and it showed. Like, how important is that? Especially Nuss. Like, Nuss comes out of this clearly the front runner for the Heisman at plus 700. Didn't have the most perfect game, but it was his control of the game. You never really felt nervous in the second half. Like, all of his throws he was making was calculated. There was no forcing anything. I think the SEC, like, when's the last time the SEC had 5 quarterbacks like that, like, show out with the experience? Like, the SEC's not known for quarterback play, like, in a bunch, if that makes sense. Or am I wrong on that? Like, usually you'll have, like, 1 or 2 quarterbacks play well, right? But, like, this many? Let's not forget about DJ Lagway. Let's not forget about, I'm not even mentioning him. I'm not even mentioning, did Vanderbilt play? There was so many storylines. Like, did Paiva play? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many good quarterbacks in the SEC, and it's mainly because of experience. think that's key, especially with one.
I mean, Lenore Sellers,
Incredible.
like I will say, I'll say this. Lenore Sellers being second in the Heisman odds right now feels very much like an overreaction to them beating a mid Virginia Tech team, like, and had a very interestingly difficult time doing it. Now, I am not saying that Lenore Sellers is not all that. I absolutely think that he is. I think he has incredible upside and a high ceiling. The comparisons to Cam Newton is the most reckless and careless thing that I think I've ever heard. Like, I actually can't be in the same room as a person that says that body of work is the same thing as what now I know what they're saying. They're not saying he's as good as Cam Newton. That is not what they're saying. However,
I was not expecting that.
What?
Go on.
Yeah, man. big laugh guy.
Reckless.
Dude, it is reckless, bro.
As I just say, mini Cam Newton, dude.
Dude, it's so funny. It is so.
I did not say he was Cam Newton unless I'm stupid and old.
And I know you saying mini Cam Newton tells me that I know what you mean. I mean, for the people that say this is the thing, this is the closest thing that we've seen to Cam Newton since Cam Newton. Like, dude, really? Say you swear, bro. Like it. And again,
he's pretty good. Dude.
He's pretty good. I agree with that. But Russo, the body of work that Cam, like, do you remember? And that just shows me how far away 2010 and 15 years ago was, because the fact that he's just a big fella that can run and throw is so absolutely ridiculous. Like, if he finishes this season 10-2 or 11-1, I'm there with you. Like, I'm there.
Oh, man.
But let's calm down. Now, they get South Carolina State, Vandy. They go to Missouri, and they get Kentucky at the crib, which, by the way, I told you to stop with the Toledo over Kentucky thing. Like, I still can't believe you picked that.
I said my comment about Vanderbilt 45-3. Paiva 20 for 25, 275, 3 passing touchdowns, along with 44 yards on the ground.
Dude, Diego Pavia is a bucket getter, and I love betting their over every year. It's just
so funny.
But again, you've got Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vandy, Missouri, Kentucky, and then they're going to LSU, Oklahoma at the crib, Bama at the crib. That game looks more competitive. Going to Ole Miss, going to A&M. Coastal Carolina at the crib. Congrats on losing the national championship in baseball. And then they get Clemson at the crib. So I think it's funny to me. I think it's funny to me how that is the immediate comparison for him. However, the John Mateer end of things got to be a little bit interesting, and Arch falling all the way down in the Heisman odds was funny. Dude, if you were an Arch believer and wanted a good number, now's the time to get Arch. Am I right? I mean, am I tripping? Like, it feels like this is the year where literally anybody can win this, but it obviously, as long as LSU keeps winning, Garrett's gonna be up there. So that's kind of how I felt about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not entirely certain that Bryce Underwood isn't as good, if not better, than we thought he would be in his first game. It looked nice.
He passed the
So then why are the odds moving away from them? Why is it almost a touchdown for Oklahoma? That's insane. That is insane.
And usually when you see lines like that don't make sense, they usually end up panning out. I mean, this is his real. My argument and devil's advocate to it is just statistics wise, like not including his play, not even watching tape. I don't think they covered I'm pretty sure they didn't cover the spread. The game was relatively, like, for a game that like that, it should have been probably out of contention faster.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma looked good, did their job. It's it's in Norman, like true freshman quarterback going on the road, prime time. I'm assuming that game's at like what 6:30, the prime time game.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably why, and like maybe the arch the arch tape doesn't help because like that's a maybe a prototype of what you saw. I mean, obviously, I think Ohio State's defense is miles better than probably Oklahoma's is, but like still rowdy environment, decent team. Mateer's probably definitely a top 10 quarterback in the league, right? I mean, are we pushing top 5? I think he's like 5th in the odds. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. It makes sense.
I would like to go and see, because I did not have this pulled up. Excuse me for everybody that's watching me type this in right now. Okay. So 30 for 37. Now, again, granted, they played Illinois State. 30 for 37 on 81% completion, but he threw for 392, 3 tutties and a pick. So he beat the crap. He beat the crap out of a team that was not.
He should have, but like,
correct.
Did Michigan do the same? I don't think so.
He ran it 7 times for 24.
Like, am I missing that? I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure they weren't even close to covering that game. They played New Mexico. They were 34.5-point favorites, and they only won by 17. Granted, at halftime, the game was a 2-touchdown game. After the third quarter, it was a 10-point game.
Go bet on the spread for Oklahoma, dude. Go ahead.
I am.
Go ahead,
Screw
man.
Screw it, dude.
I mean, big spread guy.
Look, the ladder challenge has not gone well. Ironically enough, LSU was the one that sold the freaking parlay last week. I was just better off betting the money line. I bet the money line or the spread. We win. I think I'm going to dip the ladder down to plus 100 just so we can see one go in, dude. I get some momentum going.
I will say that the slate for week 2 is a little weak. I was not really, enamored with the slate for week 2. So you really are going to have to get into your bag. Obviously, game day is going to go to, Oklahoma, Michigan, because why wouldn't they? There's another. So I will say Iowa State's always fun. Those games can always end, 3-2 in a barn burner. But I actually do like, and I don't mean to be disingenuous, I actually do like watching that game. Ole Miss going on the road to Kentucky. I think that they're going to get a little bit of a revenge from last year when Kentucky gave them all that they could handle, ended up beating them in the end. And that's really it as it pertains to, great games. I think Arizona State, did you see the video of Arizona State? They had like 5 cowbells and they were just ringing a couple of cowbells in practice because they go on the road to state. And they had literally like three athletic trainers just like ringing a couple of cowbells, and all the comments are like, now if only 3 people show up to watch this to watch the game, it'll be exactly like what you're doing right now. So it'll be fun to watch, Mississippi State get a chance to maybe, because they need this win if they can get to their win total. But
I think Arizona State, Mississippi State's an intriguing game.
Dude, it's only a touchdown.
And I think this was like the conversation we had about Mississippi State's win total was like this game either puts them over or under. I think that's going to be a fun game. I think it was that SMU Baylor too. Not a bad game. Maybe a little upset watch there.
I think Ole Miss only being a 9.5-point favorite on the road at Kentucky is absolute madness.
Bama 38.5 against ULM. I mean, are they that good?
Brother, ask me my favorite play of the weekend.
What's your favorite play of the weekend?
Ole Miss. Dude, Kentucky's bad. Like bad. Like as bad as we thought they were going to be, bad. And I don't want to be too reactive in week 1. The one thing that I do want to say is that I really, 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 really cannot believe that you and I went back and forth on the Toledo, Kentucky thing, despite how bad that they are. The fact that you and I went back and forth over Toledo, Kentucky is also reckless. Like it is.
Toledo covered, did they not?
They did cover, but you were talking about outright, brother.
Oh, like Toledo winning outright?
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Which is crazy.
Whatever, dude.
Which is crazy.
Look, some like there's going to be upsets. I just didn't pick it correctly. I mean, whatever, dude.
How about Notre Dame in a bye week? I don't know that I knew that. Why are they in a bye week?
They don't have a conference, dude.
Hold on now. What do they have a bye week for? Surely they're getting prepared.
There are several teams.
Oh, they're getting ready for that A&M game.
Oh yeah.
The world's earliest bye week. Okay.
There's two. I think Utah. Oh no, Utah does play Cal Poly.
How about that?
I take it back.
How
Maybe they
about
do.
that?
Does Notre Dame play? Maybe that just fed me the wrong information.
No, they're on a bye. They don't play until the 13th.
It said Utah. It said Utah was on a bye on my notes, but they actually played Cal Poly, which is basically a bye. But
if they don't beat A&M, their season's dashed unless there's some crazy bad stuff happening, with everybody else, and everyone just starts, splattering the hearts and souls of all the teams across the nation. If everyone's got, 2 losses, it's very hard for me to see another win on their schedule that would be worth its weight in gold as it pertains to Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State, NC State, USC, Navy, Boston College, Syracuse, Pitt, Stanford. Like, where is the, like, it's so front loaded. That's why it was such a gut punch for them to lose, on the road at Miami. And again, what a hard fought game. Hats off to them for going on the road to that game. But they get to now hang out, drink some protein shakes, get on the exercise bike, get ready to I guess lock the doors behind them and play A&M.
Speaking, first of all, I want to segue into our final topic but we're still at 59 subscribers. So
come on, guys, what are we?
Can we like and subscribe? Can just tell your friends, dude.
Guys,
the 3 Tylers, man. Like, what are we doing here? I bet Tyler Leash is not subscribed. I would bet
3 Tylers.
Money line is high on that. So please like and subscribe. I want to segue into speaking of Notre Dame and close with this. How important, because this was huge not only for the program, the university, Brian Kelly, the narrative, the pressure he had, the narrative that was going to be spun if he lost this game. The seat was going to be hot. There was going to be so much. The talk of the town, oh man, could win the big one, could win the opener. But now it's like you're talking about him differently. How big of a win was that? And especially with Notre Dame losing, right? I mean, I think this is just such a huge win for him. I don't think he was ever getting fired. I don't think he was ever in danger of getting fired. But I think unless the Titanic occurs this season, I think he put those rumors to the seat's not hot anymore. Blake Baker is going to be talked about as a potential head coach, when we get to week 10, 11, 12. And hey, look, Dave Aranda might be able to come back and fill that vacant spot if Baker gets taken. But you know what I'm saying? How big of a win was that for him? Take away the program, take away the university. That was a huge win for him.
I am not entirely sure that you'd see Aranda go back to DC. I understand. I understand.
Obviously, look, the seat will be hot. I mean, they are playing SMU. They are only 2.5-point dogs on the road, by the way, against SMU. TCU looked damn good against the old Belichick's. How about Bill Belichick and his 19-year-old wife being on the sideline? But you know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't he come back?
I mean, you
Did
usually
you
would
see the
see
video? Did you see like his wife
of
was
him
on the
on
sideline
they're not even married yet.
or their
They're
girlfriend, whatever she is?
they're like on the sideline, like hanging out. I've never seen that before.
Dude,
Imagine if Miss Terry
crazy.
would have been on the sideline talking to Nick in the
Dude,
middle of a game like that. Whatever, dude. I
we
look.
didn't even talk about Bama, dude. I mean, we didn't have time. We got
Alabama deserves its own time to just have some solace, because we're gonna maybe have to adjust our 10-2 expectation if we see that effort again, brother.
10-2
Because
is gone.
bro, I have never in my life, not to get too far away from the Baylor thing. I think Dave Aranda needs more Jimmys and Joes. Unfortunately, I don't know that he's going to have the time. I think Alabama has the Jimmys and Joes and does not have the belief in itself. Like, that looked like a team that wasn't a team. That looked like, there was a stat. I wish that I could find it on Twitter and give the guy credit for it. But how many recruiters like Kalen DeBoer's actually, like, how many kids that play for him and when that played for him at Washington were actually recruited to play there, and how much were from the portal? It seems as though he's kind of reliant on that. And dude, there was the tackle for them. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a tackle that was taking reps, had like an iPhone in his hand pregame.
Yeah.
The people are giving Ryan Williams a hard time about painting his nails. I mean, the TikTok dances, dude, it just, people just aren't scared to play Alabama right now. And it's blatantly obvious given the game that we just watched. However, there's a team just up the road in East Baton Rouge Parish that still had a hard time with them last year, and they look like they didn't want to do anything with, Jalen Milroe. And I do think that there's a different game plan given that now it's Ty Simpson. However, it feels like he's this close to the wheels falling off that wagon. There's a lot of pissed off people calling into the Feinbaum show today. It's hard to watch because you and I both thought that the talent would prevail and they would do better than some of the people might have thought. But I definitely did not have that on my bingo card, dog. They got their ass beat bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, football is back, bro.
In a weird way too, because Jesus the Nazarene, did we really have, LSU having a defense like that and Bama getting skull drug across the football field coming out of week 1? Did we really expect Auburn to go get all of those receivers and to not use almost any of them and to just have Jackson Arnold run 48 times? Like, dude, and this just in, DJ Durkin still didn't adjust to anything on defense for Auburn. Like, it, whatever, man. Whatever. I'm so excited that it's back though. Like, it feels like the world's spinning right again. Like, it feels like this is how it's supposed to be.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, I put the bow tie on this, man. What an episode. Well, pause. This was a great conversation just because you were at the beach. We were just both so happy, I think, that we won. I think everything that's been said, we don't want to keep repeating it. We just had our brief conversation about it.
Unless they do it again this week against Tech and it looks good again, then we'll definitely talk about it again.
I mean, I think my only thing would be the receivers. I think the receivers need to get their crap figured out as far as like alignments. They have so many good receivers and so many different packages. This is going to be a perfect game to get that straightened out. But I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it, man. So.
I'm incredibly excited for what's to come. Obviously, pause. I'm incredibly excited also for next weekend with Florida coming into town. That's going to be the worst traffic in Baton Rouge in a long time. It's going to rival the Ole Miss game from last year, but I'm incredibly excited to see what's going to happen, man. Like, is Florida for real like that? Is Ole Miss is Austin Simmons like that? Like, how does that game look? Because the FBI still loves Ole Miss in that game at home against LSU, which I think is insane to have it like that. But again, we'll see. and we'll certainly be here to cover all of it as it happens.
Shout out to the 3 Tylers. Shout out Bo. Thank y'all for being a part of the show, and we will catch y'all on Friday for Russo After Dark.
Let's go.
Turn
me
Thursday. We're going to be watching. The reason why we're shooting this today is because the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champs are playing tomorrow. So we'd like to get together and watch that game and have a good time. So we will be back next week as well with catching up with Coach, and hopefully we'll talk about another good week of LSU football. Fingers crossed. That is all, folks. We will see y'all next week.
Like and subscribe, please. We're begging.